hello, Courier Nation. Welcome to the Deliver on Your Business podcast, where you are the boss. Each week, we talk about how to make the most of your business as an independent contractor, as a courier delivering for gig economy apps like Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats, and so many others. Well, hey, Courier Nation. Welcome back for another week. And today I want to talk about delivery bags. Do you need to use an insulated bag, a hot bag, catering bag, or anything when you're doing your deliveries? Should you use it? Does it make business sense to use it? Are there certain ones that are better to use than others? Let's talk about that a little bit. Now, part of it that brought this up was Grubhub just came out with their new online delivery store or something, and some of it is gear, swag that I'm never going to buy because I'm not going to wear their logo. No company has earned the right for me to wear their logo. And so that's just the way I look at it. But with that, they were selling their delivery bags, and it was 2 for $25. I went ahead and ordered the delivery bags. And I also tried out their little drink carrier that they had. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, and that just had me thinking about delivery bags. Actually, it got me thinking about it to the point that I bought a different delivery bag on Amazon, different things like that. And it just made me think, does this make sense? And is it kind of stupid for me to buy these bags? And especially if bags are being given out free by these companies and things like that, why should I spend money on that? And does it make sense to use the bag? So let's talk about that today. And the question is, do you have to use the bag? And I'm going to say yes and no. Now, here's the deal. I've heard some things that Grubhub and DoorDash, that they've stated the bags are required. I've seen language that even goes so far as that you could be terminated for that, for not using the bag. But the flip side of that is, while they may say that, here's the deal with using an independent contractor is that you can use a contractor to do the work, and the agreement is to do the work, to accomplish the task that you contracted to do. But the company cannot control the method that you do the work. And this is maybe splitting hairs. I don't know. But here's the deal is that requiring the use of a bag crosses the line. If you're getting the food to the customer in the best manner possible, then you've done your job and the method is irrelevant. Whether you use the bag is irrelevant or not. Now, the flip side of that argument is, and it makes total sense too, is can you get the food to the customer in the best possible condition without the bag? And so I can understand both sides of that. I could argue with myself all day about that. And that's the problem is that if I can't even convince myself one way or the other, how would I convince anybody else whether or not you have to use it? I think when it's all said and done, honestly, legally and from a principle standpoint, no, you don't have to. Should you? That's a different story. And you know what? I think there are times, too, that you could even make the case that the bag makes the food worse. I mean, you ever see sometimes French fries? They're kind of like mush. That's why I said that word. They're kind of like mush after you get done with having them in a delivery bag for too long. And so, yeah, I think you can make a case that way. But here's the deal. This podcast and this website are all about running your business as a delivery contractor. And so the question is, from a business perspective, does it make sense? And that's why I do use a delivery bag. To me, I think there's a strong business case for it. There's a number of things about using a bag that make business sense. They allow me to do my job better, to operate my business better. They allow me to make more money. I firmly believe that. But I think that's got to be the thing for you is you got to believe that it's going to actually make money for you. And if you don't, then yeah, there's that question whether or not it makes sense. And because I think it does for me, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be how you feel. But this is how I see it. And hopefully that's helpful. There's a number of reasons that I think that it makes business sense. So I'll lay out my case and then you can decide. First of all, it gets the attention of the restaurant staff. And this is a huge one, guys. I know that there's times I've walked in and I've had other drivers pissed off because I walk in, I get the food, I walk out, and they still haven't been able to get the attention of the restaurant. And maybe that seems unfair. I don't know. But here's the deal. I'm walking in and I'm waving that bag around like it's a freaking billboard because guess what? It's a freaking billboard. It's a billboard that says, hey, I'm here to pick up a delivery. They see that bag and I am holding it up. I'm not just kind of dragging it behind me. I'm not hiding it. I am holding it up because I want them to see it because there's a nonverbal thing in there. And they see that bag. Oh, hey, what's the name on that? I don't have to go through all that trouble of getting their attention. The bag gets the attention. You see what I'm saying there? And so that in and of itself, I think is a strong enough reason to say, yes, use this stupid bag. I think it gets the respect of the people at the restaurant. And maybe that's being a brown noser with the restaurants, but I'll tell you what, as much as you got to deal with the restaurants, you want to be on good terms with them. Now, here's the thing. You know that there's restaurants that they demand that you have the bag. You know that there are places that say, we're not going to give you the food without the bag. And you can argue whether or not that's right of them or not, but you got to understand what it is from their perspective because it's their reputation on the line. Here's the thing that you got to understand with a lot of these restaurants. They're not making money on delivery. They've got to pay such a high commission on it that it's taking away their profit. And at best, they're breaking even on the food that goes out with that. So why would you even do that? Some of the restaurant owners that I've talked with, they said, it's very simple. It gets them exposure. What it does is it helps them be found by people that wouldn't find them otherwise. These delivery companies, and this is how they market themselves, is they do a good job of marketing different options. And it's a way that you get advertised without spending for advertising. You break even on the delivery in return for being found by somebody that wouldn't have found you otherwise. So it's kind of like free advertising, but this is where, first impressions come in handy. This is where first impressions are very important because then the idea of that is let somebody figure out your food, but then they damn well better be happy with the food. Otherwise, they're never coming in. And if they like the food, then they're coming in, and that's when the restaurant gets the chance to make their money. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I know a lot of restaurants that they get very nervous about delivery for that very reason because of some of the people that come in. And some of it is the way that they look. And some of it is that they're not sure that driver's taking care of the food. Sometimes they're not sure the food's going to get there. You know what I'm saying? And so when I walk in with my bag and I'm holding it up, and it's part of a bigger thing because I also, when I drive out, I've got a dress shirt on most of the time. I'm wearing my fedora and I've got the bag and sometimes a bow tie, but it's all kind of stuff that just, what it does is it communicates to the restaurant that I give a crap about what I'm doing. I'm going to take care of their food. I'm going to take care of their customer. And I think that they feel a little more comfortable about that delivery. And if they're more comfortable about that delivery, they're more likely to help me out. And they're more likely I'm going to get the attention when there are several people waiting in line. I think the right bag, the right equipment, it can speed up the delivery for you. I bought one bag. I'll talk about this in a little bit for one reason. It's got a Velcro lid. Guys, how many times have you fumbled with the zipper? Especially you get to the customer and you want to get the food to them, but now you're trying to get that unzipped and everything like that. And the next time you get into that, just ask, remind yourself or think about this. Try and get this in your mind. Next time you're fighting with a zipper, just ask, how would a Velcro lid be on this? Because the thing about a Velcro lid is I can close that real quick and it's sealed too. There's enough times that I use the regular bags that I don't zip it up, because I'm trying to get in and out. And then you kind of wonder, is it really protecting the food as well? But, the Velcro lid, you close it up and it's good. That kind of thing, and if you got a bag that you can get the food in and out of easily, or if you got a large enough bag to carry enough food, all of those things, they speed up the process. They get you in, they get you out faster. And I've started using drink carriers or caddies or whatever because, again, I think it's faster. And because usually I'm carrying them out, or I'm sitting there trying to mess with those stupid little cardboard things that don't hold the drinks very well, and that can be a time suck. So that kind of stuff is huge. I think it speeds off the handoff to the customer at times. How many times do you have the customer comes outside and they're looking around, looking for the guy or the gal that's giving them their food, And I've watched people, sometimes they're standing out there and somebody's walking by with a bag, and it turns out all they've got is a bag of their groceries, but right away they kind of think, oh, that must be my delivery or something. When I pull up, I get out and I've got that delivery bag. They know, oh, that is my delivery. And I think there are times that I think it's actually saved several minutes, especially in places where there's a lot of people, things like that. So to me, I think sometimes having that bag, and especially having a bag that I can just easily hand the food to the customer and get the food to the customer in, instead of trying to juggle, several bags on a larger order, it just speeds up that process. Finally, I think there's an area where the bag puts the customers and the restaurants at ease. And that has to do with this whole thing about drivers stealing food. I think the reports, you've heard maybe of some of those reports that say that a third of drivers have admitted. I'm not sure, because actually the one that made the report is from an organization that kind of has a little bit of an axe to grind on the other side. So I'm not sure how accurate that is, to be honest, but it is still a concern. And if you watch, if you've been watching the trend, you're seeing more restaurants that are taping the bags shut. You are seeing more restaurants that they're sealing the drinks up inside with the hot food. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, when you think about it from that perspective, but it does when you realize that they are more concerned about the food being stolen than they are about whether or not, having that cold drink in there is going to cool off the food within the time that you're getting it there. They're concerned about that kind of thing. When you put the food inside of a bag and you close up that bag, it's like it's a protection. It's kind of like, okay, here's your armored car that's going to protect your food. And so I think it does help put the restaurant at ease, and it puts the customer at ease. When you pull up, you get there, and then you've got to open up and unzip the bag to get the food to them. It's kind of a way of saying, oh, yeah, I could have opened up the bag when I was in the car and eaten the food and then closed up the bag again and everything like that. You could do that, but I think usually somebody that's going to eat the food is probably too lazy to do that anyway. But it just gives them on both sides a little bit of a better sense of mind. And the bottom line to all of this is, I think all of these add up to say that having these drink carriers, having these bags, and using them on every delivery that it makes sense to use those on, it makes me money. The restaurants respond faster, and I think a lot faster. The customers respond faster, and that means it's more efficient. I get in and out of the restaurant a lot faster. And I get in and out of delivering to the customer a lot faster. And it's going to save several seconds at the worst and minutes at the most. And seconds don't seem like they're much, but I've got days, if I'm working all day, I'm doing 30 deliveries. And if I'm doing saving 30 seconds on every one of those deliveries, that's 15 minutes by the time the day is over with. That's enough time to get in delivery number 31. And that means I get more deliveries done in the same amount of time, and I'm making more money. I think the other thing that happens is, I think it does make a difference on tips. I can't prove it. I don't even know how my tips are compared to anybody else, and I don't try and find out. But I hear enough things that it's like, I hear enough people that say they never get tipped on Postmates, and I get tipped like 90% of the time. And so, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I get enough times that, somebody kind of hands a little bit of extra cash and they've already tipped nicely through the app. And how often is that because of me, and how often is that because they do it? I don't know. But I'm pretty convinced that it does make a difference in my tips. I'm pretty convinced that I do make more in tips because the customer feels good about the fact that their food has been taken care of. And so sometimes, not always, not most of the time, but sometimes it means a little bit more money in tips. So I think when you think of it that way, more deliveries, more money, It seems like a good business sense for using the delivery bags. Okay, so what about the bags themselves? I told you that I started this whole process off because I was looking at these, that I decided to order the bags from Grubhub. So let's start with the Grubhub bags. I think Grubhub's got some of the best bags in the market, period. Whether or not you're buying them or getting them from the stores or whatever, definitely better than I think anybody's giving away. They're just solid. They're well made. They're truly insulated bags. They got good thick siding. They stand up well. It's pretty easy to get the food in and out of the bags. The zippers are, you're not worried about the cheap zippers falling apart on them or anything, at least not the ones that I've had, not the ones that I just got. And there's this brilliant little design thing that they did where the carrying straps, there's like a little loop on the side of the bag that you can slide the straps through. And what that does is that allows you to carry it as a flat pizza bag type bag or to carry it as like an upright bag. And to me, it was just brilliant. Actually, it took me a little while before I actually realized that they did that. And so either bag could work like a large or small pizza bag or a large or small food bag where it's more upright and you have like, so the large bag is great for some of those really big bags that some restaurants have and, or, packaged like, Red Robin. If you've got Red Robin in your market, if you deliver from them, you know what I'm talking about. Some of those where they've got just, they give them to you in really large bags and they're not going to fit into a normal size bag. So Grubhub did a great job with that. And I have not seen that design on anything anywhere. I've looked all over the place and it was just like, oh, this is brilliant. But I just think they're some of the best bags in the market, period, of any kind. There's one bag that I really like a lot better. I'll get into that in a minute, but they started selling those online and you don't have to be a Grubhub driver to buy them. That's one of the nice things about it, but they've got the Grubhub logo on it. So if you're delivering DoorDash or Postmates, you might not like delivering with it. You might not care. I think they're worth it. I absolutely think they're worth it. $25 for the set. You can't get a pizza bag for $25 hardly, And so if you're buying a bag, that's a good place to go. I'll put a link to the shop on there. I don't make any money off of that. I don't have an affiliate link for them or anything like that, but they're good bags. And I've got a little video that I did of kind of the package opening. So if you've never seen them and how they work, you can take a look at that and I'll have a link for that as well. You've got the bags that DoorDash and Postmates give you. They're kind of the cloth, soft-sided bags. And I'll just say they're crap. I'm sorry. I don't like them. They're floppy. The cloth is thin. It's like a foil lining, so it's not even really insulated. I'm not totally sure that they actually protect the food all that well, but they're free if you're with DoorDash or Postmates, and Uber quit giving them away. But they've got a delivery online store. I'll have a link for that. I have links for everything. This also is not an affiliate link, but I bought one way back when and I used it for everything because it didn't have any logos on it. I like that, but it's cheap and it's, you get what you pay for. And it's not something that I would really recommend. So I did not put any links to any as far as like to buy from Amazon because I don't think they're worth buying. Now, maybe if you think, you need to get something and you just don't have the money, maybe look for something like that. But probably for the same money, maybe you can go over to Walmart and get the Ozark Trail bags or something that they've got in the sporting areas. And that might work well. They're a little clunky, I think. They're not as, I think, well made for what we do, but they're inexpensive. And so my favorite bag is made by Servit, Servit, and I bought it from the Webstaurant store. I mentioned earlier that I bought a bag simply because it had the Velcro. This is the bag. It has a Velcro lid instead of a zipper, and that means I can close it and seal it very quickly. I can open it very quickly. I can get the food in. I can get the food out very quickly. It saves time, and when you save time, it pays for itself. It's also got these pockets on the side that you can use. There's a pocket on each end, and they're big enough to stick like a 2-liter bottle in, but then it's got this little Velcro thing on it so that you can make like two different like cup holders or drink holders. They're not perfect for holding drinks, but they've done the job for me really well, and I like it. And so that's one I really recommend you look at. There is one that somebody's selling them on Amazon, but it's like $50. And I'm going to tell you what, $50 is actually a good price for a good bag if it's taking care of you, but it's not the best place to buy it, is what I'm saying. So you're much better off buying it from the web store. I wish that I could get a commission link for that one or something like that, but they don't do it. And, but that's all right. I think the bag is like $16 or $17 on the Webstaurant. And for me, it was like $12 shipping. It may be one of those deals that shipping varies depending on how far away you are, but somewhere around $30 or something like that. It is really worth it. It really is. Just that efficiency, I think, is worth that. It's going to pay for itself. And if you were only to get one bag, that would be the one. Since I bought that, decided to do that order from Grubhub, I thought, you know what? I want to take a look at this other one from Amazon. There is a bag. It's called Freshie. Freshie. I think it's just some brand name that somebody slapped on a bag that he bought from China. But it's a catering size bag. It's like 22 by 13, and I think it says 11 inches tall. I think it's taller than that. I went ahead and bought it. But the part that stands out, if you look at the picture on the associated webpage here, you'll see it, is it's got 3 cup holders across the front. I thought that was a novel idea. That was enough to kind of pique my curiosity. And I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and order this in just to see how it works. It's kind of like, all right, this is probably a good potential review video coming up down the line. But I like that idea. It was a good idea. And actually, part of the reason that I was thinking about it is I needed a new catering bag. I bought a bag. It was a Home Vative. I have a link for that, 22 by 13. I really recommend you get one that size, but it was great for the larger packages. And so I thought, okay, I need to get a new one. This one's starting to wear out and everything like that. And so I thought I'd give it a try. It's okay. It's $40, and I don't think it's worth $40, to be honest. It is, maybe you might think it is. I don't know. It's a little softer sided. It is it doesn't have the thick insulation. It's more like a canvasy type cloth with the foil lining on the inside. And I'm not sure how thick that lining is or how strong that lining is. I will find out over time. But like I said, it wasn't as substantial as I expected for a $40 delivery bag. And probably the part I didn't like the most about it is that it's it's soft-sided, but it's also that way on the bottom. So there's no support. There's no, like the Serve-It bag that I've got, it's got like a hard cardboard bag piece that you can actually lie into place. This one doesn't have any of that. And so when you've got food sitting in the middle of it, it just kind of sags. And I just worry too much about, the potential of the food kind of shifting or whatever. And so it's okay, but I don't think it's the best bag for what you can do. The cup holders, they'll make that interesting. It still makes it kind of something to think about. I really think you ought to think about some kind of catering bag. It has saved my hides for so long when I bought that Home Vative one, because it was just wide enough that, you get in some of those restaurants that you get that bag that's more like a grocery sack. And it's way too big to fit inside of like the regular Grubhub bag or the soft-sided bags or even that Serve-It bag that I've got. It's just a little bit too big for that. And if it's perfectly, and I can actually turn it sideways in the catering bag and fit a couple of those in there. So I can carry more food with it that way. Now, one bag, usually I can fit into the Grubhub pizza bag. And when I carry it upright, but I can fit more into the bag. It's wide enough. I really recommend if you get a catering bag, make sure it's at least 13 inches wide. There's a lot of them that are like 22 by 13. Stick with that. Really stick with that, because that 13 inches, that allows the larger bags to turn into the bag sideways. It also allows you to fit into those little 12-inch pizza boxes that you get from some places. And so The other thing that I'll throw out there when we're talking about those larger bags is, and go back to Serve It. I think I mentioned that I bought that one that was 15 by 13 by 13. And when I was doing all this, I went ahead and decided to, don't tell anybody, order one of the larger catering versions of that. It's $29 plus shipping. And it's basically the same thing though. It's the Velcro lid, it's the side pockets, but it's that 22 by 13 and it's 16 inches tall, which is I think the tallest of any of them that I saw. And it's just like, okay, yeah. And I got a feeling that Freshie's going to go into retirement early. Maybe I'll give it away. Maybe I'll sell it. If anybody wants to make a good offer on that or something like that, I don't know. I really recommend that you think about a pizza bag too, that it just makes sense. First bag I ever got was a pizza bag. It was 22 by 22 and the strap broke on it pretty early on, but it's still, the thing is that big bag saved my hide a couple of times because you get some of those places that have those monster pizzas, and having actually two pizza bags is huge. I think you ought to have two pizza bags. I really recommend you have like a catering bag, a pizza bag, have one of those pizza bags be at least 22 inches, 22 by 22 or 24 by 24. And then two pizza bags, a catering bag, and at least two kind of normal size delivery bags. And I think you cover just about everything that you would need. When I ordered from Grubhub, I also bought one of their little drink carriers that they were offering. Again, it was kind of more like just to see what it was like. I don't know if I'm going to use it for very long. It was $20. But it's, it was actually, it looks well made. And when I've seen it, I've been impressed with its, kind of solid sides, and the two sides kind of fold up so it lays flat when you're not using it. That I think is a great idea, especially because you could slide that into the side of a delivery bag and just keep it in the bag. And when you need it, then you can pull it out. So that's the brilliance with that one. I'm not sure the cup holders are quite big enough. They're just the right size that a large McDonald's glass fits perfectly into it. It slides all the way down to the bottom. The trays are not very deep, and I'm kind of concerned that with, taller bottles or taller drinks, that stuff could tip over, or you kind of high center of gravity and the whole thing could just tip on you. And if you get a large drink from some places, they're wider than those McDonald's cups and they may not fit in there. And so it's just, it was a great idea. It looks great. There is a version that does not have the Grubhub logo, and that's what I've got linked on the show notes for that one. But it's, it's not bad. There's some nice things about it, and I think it comes in handy in a lot of ways. I just don't think it's as stable as what I expected it to be. There's another one that was called Drink Caddy that I took a look at. It's soft-sided. It is also, pretty nice. It holds 4 drinks. If you're holding only one, because it's soft-sided and even the handle and stuff are all soft, what happens is if you got just one drink in there and there's nothing to balance it, it kind of tilts. It kind of lists to the side and everything. And I'm afraid of something spilling or something like that. So if you're going to use that, you want to have 2 drinks in there, one on each side or one on kind of the opposite ends of each other so they balance each other out. I think with this one, take a look at the picture up on the website because you kind of see what I'm talking about, but I think the drinks are held too close together. And the problem with that is the lids can knock each other off. I don't know if you've ever run into that on some things, but that could be kind of a pain. There's a couple things that are nice about it. It's got these little straps that'll actually cinch the cup in so that it'll support some of those smaller cups so they're not rattling around. That's not a bad idea. The best cup holder, I think, is not even a cup holder. It's called an Art Caddy, and it's Art Caddy by Creatology, and it is sold by Michaels. Now, I wish that they sold those online because then you could just order it, but you've got to go to the store. At least the last time that I looked, you've got to buy it at the store. They don't ship it, and that's too bad. But it's actually, I'm very impressed with it. It's a plastic. It is kind of like a kid's plastic, if you know what I'm talking about, or know the idea that I'm talking about. Some of those, toddler toys that have that real thick plastic, and that's what it's made out of. And it's really made to be like an art tray for kids. And it's in the kids section there. But it's is $4. And the cup sizes are, I think, just perfect. They're real good. There's a little bit of wiggle room when you stick a big McDonald's cup in there. And I think there's enough room in there that you can get even bigger cups and be okay. There's a little bit of distance between the cups, so the lids aren't bumping against each other. And because it's broad and it's solid, it's going to sit nice and firm. I think they're a little bit ugly, but I'm okay with that. There's not quite the presentation value as there is on the Grubhub or the Drink Caddy, but and if I have any complaint though, really, it's probably more that it takes up a lot of space when it's not in use because it's this big clunk of solid plastic. But it's $4, guys. So next time you're near a Michael's, if you've got Michael's in your area, go buy it. It's $4 and it's worth it. I think it's really worth it. That's kind of my roundup on bags, carriers, any of that stuff. And here's the deal on these things, folks. Remember that you're running a business. And remember that you're not an employee. So do not buy a bag simply because you want to make these companies happy. Do not buy it because loyalty or any of that stuff or because that's what you should do. You buy your bags because it makes business sense. Personally, now I'm not a fan of wearing the gear from any of these companies. So like Grubhub's got all these other things and you can buy with the Grubhub logos and you can do that with a lot of these companies. I'm not going to do that because they haven't earned the right for me to do that. But I think sometimes if all you do is deliver for one company, it probably doesn't hurt to wear their shirt or something like that because, again, it's that billboard thing. It's that advertising. This is what I'm here for. It's more about identifying who you are and what you're doing. And I get that part, but I deliver for all of them, so I don't want to wear anybody's logo. But I think my big thing that I'm trying to get at with this is don't go about this with an employee mindset, but do think in terms of operating like a business. Because I think too many people get so caught up in this, I'm independent and I don't need no stinking bag. And the bottom line is it's not about whether or not you're independent. It's about whether or not it makes business sense. Does this bag help you do your business in a better manner? I'm fully convinced that it does. If you're not convinced, that's fine. You do you. And that's fine, because I know that I don't know everything, that's for sure. But my take is it does. It gets me in and out of the restaurants faster. It develops a good relationship with the restaurants. It kind of sets that stage in a positive manner the moment I walk in. And I think it makes me look professional with the restaurant, with the customers. I think, I can't prove, but I think it helps me with my tips. And all of that stuff means it pays for itself. I talked about a number of them. I've got links, but I want to find out from you. Do you have certain things that you use? Do you have any particular products that are game changers for you, like the bags or the caddies or any of that stuff? I would love to hear from you. Send me an email, ron@entrecourier.com, or leave a comment over on the page on the website, any of those things. I'd love to hear what's working for everybody else. In the meantime, folks, I want to ask a question. Is this website, is this podcast helping you in any way? Is it helping you run your business? Is it giving you tips? Is it giving you ideas? Is it giving you information that you can use? Because if it is, please share it. Let people know about it. Leave reviews on iTunes or any of the places you can leave reviews for the podcast, or share us on social media, because what that does is that helps me get found. And if it helps me get found, that means that there's more people that I can help. And that's what I really want to do. And one last thing that I'm going to ask you folks as we go today is please never forget, never, ever forget, take control. You are the boss here. You are the business owner. Take control of your life, your career, and your business. Go out there and be the boss.